Hi there, and welcome to episode 2 of IndieTards, the monthly show where we take a look at an indie game. With me this week is my partner and friend, Stuart.
Sup, guys?
And today we are taking a look at the Stanley Parable. So the Stanley Parable is, I don't really know what you'd call it. It's kind of like a adventure game, but with narrative, and
It's an interactive narrative. It really is.
yeah, pretty much you got this British narrator guy dictating every single thing that you do, and you can either choose to go along with him or ignore him and get into lots of misadventures. The gameplay is actually kind of pretty simple. You just WASD walk around, and there's like one sequence where you can...
At its heart, a source game. That sums it up.
It is a source mod. It is, at its base, using tons of Half-Life assets. If you've played Half-Life, you'll probably recognize a lot of the things in this game. Yeah, it is created by, I think, just one guy. He did the narration, he did everything. He's got like the most sexy British voice you'll ever hear. And the writing is pretty hilarious. It can either tell you a really meaningful story or just make fun of you and itself quite well. Yeah, there's tons of ridiculous quotes. It's really hard to remember all of them, but it is really quite a quirky game, and it is a really fun thing. Actually, they just announced they're trying to work on a sequel. They're just call it the Stanley Parable HD Remix. They put it on Steam Greenlight. Seriously, go vote for it. It is a freaking hilarious game.
It is so great. It needs 2 post-fixes, whatever you call those.
So yeah, we both played through it. Like, Stuart and I sat down one day and were just like, all right, let's check this game out. So Stuart, what did you think of it? Like, what did you like about it?
Well, I liked that it was simple. I liked that it was all about the narrative, and it wasn't about shooting people in the face, like everything else is.
Although, just to add, there was actually a great moment where in one of the game's many, like, large number of endings, you got transported into the first level of Half-Life, which was pretty hilarious. You just walk around, like, the initial train station area and all that, and you get to interact with things there, but there's no enemies, and it's just really kind of odd, and there's a very sarcastic narration over what's going on in that scene.
Everything is a very sarcastic narration, but as I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted, I'm gonna be honest, I really don't remember what I was talking about. Sam, what did you like about this game?
Well, I agree with you. I think it's really cool because it's simple. It kind of feels almost like an art project, like a student project or something, but it's a bit too sarcastic to quite be that. Yeah, it definitely has a nice tone to it. Like, I am willing to bet, unless you played Bastion, you've never played a game where you have a narrator narrating over you.
I don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
And games like Bastion certainly don't have quite the amount of charm and humor that this game has.
So, while the Stanley Parable may be an absolutely great little gem out there for its non-existent cost, like anything else, it has its quirks, good and bad. And now it's time for Sam to gripe about the bad ones, because he can find the bad in anything. Sam?
Yes, Stuart, I'm very good at pointing out the bad in you especially. You give me lots of material to work with, but as far as this game goes, you just punched me in the arm. Yeah, I'd say that to start, obviously the graphics aren't great. It's an old source mod. That's not a big complaint. The textures are mostly like kind of crap, to be honest, but it's just like, it's a free game, so whatever. It's a bit short, like, it's got a lot of endings, but I think still not enough. And once you play through the game, like, a lot of it is going to be the same with just some minor variations in the story and such. And that brings me to the story, which, what I've said earlier, it is cool. Like, it's very sarcastic and funny, but sometimes it tries to be too deep and serious for what the game really is. It tries to give you this, like, big outlook and perspective on, like, life-changing things, and it's like, nah, just be a game, you know? Be funny, be, like, what you're good at. Don't try to be like, what can games be more, or something like that. It's not. It's a freaking hilarious game with a British narrator that is fun.
Now, unlike Sam and his various complaints, everything I have wrong with this game can be summed up with one simple fact. It's an old source mod game. While it does run great on an older or lower end computer, it doesn't have much in pros for the higher ends, and it's very simplistic, especially for a source mod. It doesn't really have anything more than just walking around and listening to the narrator, which was pretty good, admittedly, but I just think it needed a little bit something more. Alright, so in summary, let's face it, it's a great game, especially for its price tag that I'm having trouble finding where it is because it doesn't exist.
Yeah, and despite all the narratives I expressed to you before, the game itself is still really fun. There's no reason not to try it, or at least do yourself a favor and look it up on YouTube. The writing is superb, a little bit too deep at times for its own good, but it is hilarious, sarcastic, and British. So I think that about concludes IndieTards episode 2 about a lovely little game called the Stanley Parable. Stuart and I both liked it. If you want to see more of our stuff, visit our channel, ThePlaytards. Subscribe, rate, comment, like, and send us ideas for games because we're desperate.
Also, send us candy because we're greedy.
Yeah, so thank you very, very, very much for watching. Go back and watch our other IndieTards episodes if you haven't. I will leave a link to the download for the Stanley Parable below. Thank you for watching.